Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
It's time for another episode, a bonus episode of Come In 81 Kilo,
The Gerthering.
Toronto 2023. This is our debrief episode, recap of the, some might say, epic journey we took through Toronto and Stratford.
That we were led on.
Led on, did lead. It was a
mutual enabling.
Yeah, I think Meg said, what's the word for this? And I said, codependency. It was a mutually assured, let's get around and do all of the things we've all always wanted to do, but individually have been absolutely terrified to do.
It was a positive feedback loop.
And we'll bring Matt along on the journey too. So Matt had a good time. Everybody had a good time. And I have in my lap what is we refer to on the journey as the sacred texts, which is the spiral bound trip guide that Meg very helpfully put together for us.
Day by day itinerary.
With a tabbed days. So I'm going to use this as a memory aid to help us remember all the stuff that we did. Because the first day was just travel. We flew out of where we live up to Buffalo. And we drove across the border, which was kind of...
Buffalo's right next to the border of Canada.
Buffalo's right next to the border. And
it was way cheaper to fly into Buffalo and drive the rest of the way to Toronto than it was to fly into Toronto.
Right. And it was really fun. And we went through a very interesting experience where the helpful car renter lady tried to give us pointers on, I don't even know.
On how to handle the tolls.
Yeah, I don't know. But what we did get to do was go to a grocery store we've never been to before. Which,
in Buffalo, New York.
As it turned out, was the theme of the trip. Let's go to grocery stores we've never been to
grocery
before.
stores or very, very regional grocery stores.
Yes. So we traveled across the border, and our first day we stayed in Toronto. And it was really interesting because we stayed in what Meg referred to as a ghost hotel, which is like an apartment building where all of the apartments have been purchased by investors. So no one or very few people actually live there full time. They are all rental units.
Right. It's a property management company.
Right. And the poor, sweet property management company was not prepared for...
Really at all.
I mean, for us, for anything, they were very nice and responsive, but they're like, okay, well, you need to pay for parking. Okay, who do I pay for parking? Me. Okay, how do I pay you? Oh, I'll send you a link. Okay, so I got the link, paid for parking. And then I was like, okay, where do we park? And they sent me the number, which it turned out was our unit number, not the parking number. And then we went to try to get in, but you can't get into the parking deck without a key fob. Well, we had no key fob because the key fob was in the apartment, but we had no key to the apartment.
And you couldn't get in the building without the key fob. And
yes.
Yeah, the check-in instructions were not clear.
We made it. We did. And
we got there eventually.
It was a really sweet spot because we were right by a little restaurant called The Morning After, which was a hangover-themed brunch restaurant. And it loves me a good
very
brunch.
Posh.
It loves me a good posh. Yes. Brunch is truly the poshest meal. Okay. To me,
it's second breakfast.
There is no greater luxury than to be she who brunches. Like, I get up too late to eat breakfast. But I'll be staying up too late to eat an early dinner so I can have a late lunch so I can brunch. You can drink at brunch. Brunch is good.
It's a versatile meal.
It is. And
a lot of barriers are missing
yeah.
from the brunch meal.
So this was our first, we put everything away, and then we had our first trip to a Canadian grocery store.
Well, let's not forget, we crossed the border and immediately stopped at
a
Harvey's.
Harvey's. Harveys. Harvey's. Yeah. Not Hardee's, Harvey's. That was really good. We got poutine fries, which is fries with gravy and cheese curds. And the gravy is hot enough to melt the cheese curds, so it's like a cheesy gravy amalgamation on French fries. And shit on French fries is my love language. I am not a fancy person. If you gave me French fries with a ton of shit on it, I am a happy person. So I liked Canada because that was also their love language. Hey, would you like fries with shit on it?
Every
I
restaurant
would like
had
fries with shit on it.
some kind of poutine.
Some kind of fries with stuff on them. Yes, you are correct. We did hit our very first Canada-only fast food chain on our way over the border. And then we went to the grocery store, which was a whole nother experience. All thanks to Meg, who played our native guide. And that included any and all native foodstuffs. Delicacies, one might say. Butter tarts featured high on the list.
Nostalgic foods of Meg's childhood.
Montreal bagels. We shopped in the candy aisle like a bachelor who's let himself go and no longer believes he can find love.
Or a 9-year-old you gave $100 to.
Yeah, if you gave a toddler $200 and you sent them to the grocery store and you were like, get what you want, that would have been what was in our grocery cart.
Except for 1 pack of beer.
Oh, and I got some yogurt because I was like, damn, I'm going to need some probiotics. Because I got some yogurt. Milk comes in bags. That was pretty cool. You get like a pitcher, and then you put your bag in the pitcher, and then you throw the bag away, but you refill the pitcher. You like stick the bag in the pitcher. Matt claims he's had milk in bags before.
Yeah, my high school, was it high school or middle school? That was my high school, the like breakfast lunch line. The instead of having milk in a carton, we had milk in little bags.
Yeah.
And it was like, 8 ounces or whatever of milk. And you had like a sharpened straw, like a Capri Sun.
Yeah.
And you'd stab that into the bag and drink your milk.
Yeah. And can I talk about how weird it was to see the skyline I've seen I don't know how many times?
On Forever Night?
On Forever Night. I mean, the skyline's changed. Obviously, there's more tall buildings now and stuff. But it was still just like, oh my shit, that's the CN Tower. And I'm like, that's the lowest kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know why I never thought I'd ever go to Toronto. Like, I'm not an adult and I can't make that decision now to go for myself. I think that's one of the hardest things about adulthood is you can be like, I can do the thing. I can just do the thing. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. As long as I have enough money to do the thing, I can do the thing. And we fucking did the thing. And it was amazing for a whole week. We shopped at the grocery store. We took everything back. And that was kind of our evening. We started the next day with brunch, which the morning after brunch was really good.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good.
They had like a Benedict menu. Benedict is eggs with shit on it are my secondary love language.
So some kind of starchy, grainy base.
Yeah.
A carby base.
Yeah.
With
shit on it. Yeah. That's basically my love. Yeah, that sums it up. Toast with shit on it. Eggs with shit on it. Stuff with like accoutrement, lots of stuff on top. So clearly I also love sushi. That's basically the same thing.
Carb geometry with toppings.
Yeah. And they had lattes. Like Meg got this latte that came with Lucky Charms. It was the unicorn latte. Yeah. And so she was pouring the Lucky Charms in the latte and eating it like cereal. Looks so good. And I got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch latte, which actually had Fireball in it because you can drink at brunch. And so I drank at brunch. And then we went from there. We kind of did a little bit of sightseeing. We went out to the cookie outlet. Apparently there's a cookie outlet where you can just buy cookies in large quantities. But they had just been cleaned out, so Meg was disappointed. I was happy. There was like a coffee place next door. I went over and sniffed tea, so I'm easily pleased. But after that, we went to the Casa Loma, which was estimated to take about an hour to walk around, and we closed Casa Loma. We stayed
4.5 hours later.
The whole day. It was so cool. It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if anyone's ever been to North Carolina and been to the Biltmore Estate. It's similar. It's like a really oversized personal residence where someone who shipped stuff by rail made a shit ton of money. I think he actually invested in hydropower too. There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, for Casa Loma. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a big, cool house that you got to walk around. And there were secret passages and there was a tunnel. And they had everything set up for Halloween because they had Halloween-themed escape rooms going on. So there was a lot of wonderful things to look at. And we were there for 4.5 hours. And it's notable because one of the fireplaces, actually, several scenes in Forever Night were filmed at Casa Loma, but there's one particular fireplace that I think appears in Father Figure. And so we got pictures in front of that. So that was our first seeing a place where Nick maybe made out moment.
Yes, this was the journey that the trip was intended to be, was going places where Geraint Wyn Davies had been and preferably had made out with someone.
Just Forever Night filming sites, okay? You don't have to make it weird. Like,
No. Meg made it weird.
we helped. We helped a lot. We did a lot of the heavy lifting.
We didn't discourage her.
So then we went to the Stormcrow Manor, which if anybody lives within any vicinity of that area, you need to go.
It is worth the entire day traveling.
Oh my God, it was so cool. It is the nerdiest bar in Canada.
Was that on Monday or Tuesday?
That was Tuesday.
After Casa Loma. Yeah.
And we got the Infinity Gauntlet shots. So they played a clip from the Avengers. And
They walked the thing
and like
around
paraded
the
it
whole,
around and brought it to
whole
us.
bar, and then played it over the loudspeaker for the whole restaurant.
Yes. And Meg, who got her username, you've probably seen her active on my Instagram, is Shulky, like She-Hulk. And she got the She-Hulk Gamma Juice, which glowed green, which was pretty cool. And all of the drinks were some theme, Buffy themed or some nerdy property themed. It was really cool. And Matt got to roll up his burger. He got a character sheet for his burger. And you got to roll to see what toppings and things you would put on it. And you kept rolling tartar sauce. So we cheated a little bit. Tartar sauce would not have gone with anything else. And then they bring you your dungeon burger in a chest and present it to you. And you get a toy.
A toy and a little commemorative card.
Yeah, we missed out. We promised we would talk about when we rented the car. I just remembered on our episode that we just recorded. And we didn't. But Meg has a very common last name. It's like Jane Doe. And so we went to go check out. Meg was wearing a wide-brimmed black hat, large dark sunglasses,
And a black face mask.
A black face mask. And when she
and
walked
a completely black outfit.
so when she walked up to get the car, they were like, "What's the last name?" And she was like, Doe. Like I am definitely a spy.
Yeah, she had major
the best.
I'm concealing my identity vibes.
Yeah, but really just I'm just trying to make it through the day vibes.
Or covering up from the sunlight like Nick was huddling in the car.
Yes.
For
dying for fame. Yeah. So we closed the night out at the Stormcrow Manor, which again, if you're anywhere near there, do go. There is actually a secret menu, but you have to find the QR code. You have to go on a quest somewhere. You have to go on a quest inside Stormcrow Manor and find the secret QR code to get the secret menu so you can order off the secret menu.
And they have a gift shop, which consists of an infernal vending machine.
Yes, which had dinosaur porn in it, which we definitely got. Oh, it was really fun. They had some t-shirts too, but we had to dip. So I don't know, maybe we need to see if they have the t-shirts online.
Yeah, it said you could shop online.
Yeah.
But I haven't checked. So then we went back to the rental.
Yeah. So day 2 was primarily visiting sites. And this was the most exhausting but exhilarating day. Because we were kind of planning to drive, but of course it's a large city. Driving is tricky. There's a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of parking. So we ended up using the streetcars, which was way cooler. So we got a pass for the streetcars. And even with that, we ended up walking almost 7 miles, I think.
Yeah.
Just trekking everywhere.
You can just get a day pass for the public transportation.
Right.
And that gets you the buses, the streetcar, like trolley things, and the subway.
Right. So we went to St. Lawrence Market to start the day because Meg insisted that we had to have pea meal bacon sandwiches, which was fine. We were not opposed to this at all. And we actually got pea meal bacon sandwiches from the 2 famous pea meal bacon sandwich makers at St. Lawrence Market so that we could compare.
Which was better.
So we got some from the Carousel Bakery and some from the Paddington bakery. And the Paddington one was so, well, Meg would say, she, very, what toppings would you like? You want relish, you want marmalade, you want peppers and onions and whatever. And the carousel one was basically like, here's your pea meal bacon sandwich. Don't die. Just gave you the sandwich. I think they were both really good. I ended up carrying them around in my backpack the entire time when we referred to them as backpack meat. And at this point, we had eaten so much meat that Meg felt it was coming out of her pores.
Meat sweats.
So
was
Matt
a
kept
chant.
chanting meat sweats, yes. And then we went on our epic journey. We went all the way out to the building that served as the exterior for Nick's apartment, because of course his actual apartment is a set.
Got some pictures with the water tower in the background.
Yeah, and then we went to the library that serves as the exterior for the 2nd precinct, for the 96th precinct. And then we went to the bookstore. So the bookstore that they go to in Stranger Than Fiction is Nicholas Hoare's. And that is actually closed. He retired, the building, the shop closed. And then somebody else took over, like Meg called it the spiritual successor, was Ben McNally. And they were in another building, and that building just got taken over by the city, and they had to move to another location. So we went to their 2nd location, which was quite small, but it was cute. And if you live in Toronto, just support small business. Go to Ben McNally. They have like a book of the month club. You can sign up to have books mailed to you every month, and you just tell them what your preference is, and they'll ship one to you, like a book subscription. And then we went to visit the exterior for Natalie's coroner's office, which was probably the saddest one because it's all closed and boarded up, and the windows are all boarded up, and it's got a notice that's all graffitied on it. And it's like, we're planning to rip this down and build a more efficient building.
Yeah, like high-rise condos, apartments, whatever.
Yeah, so.
But the sign had been up since 2021, so it may still take a while for the building to actually be removed.
I don't know. It was just like, I've seen this building like hundreds of times, and now there's just a ton of trash and stuff. And, it kind of
The birds
happens.
liked it.
Yeah, there was a lot of pigeons living there. You know what? Time passes, and that's okay. It's all right that time passes. It was just like, okay, well, I'm glad I got to see it. So then we went to St. James, which is the church he goes into in For I Have Sinned. And I got the clip of Matt standing outside the cathedral. We actually went back, and I got one. I went the wrong direction. I went from Matt to the cathedral. I should have gone cathedral to Matt.
Well, then...
and we were on the wrong corner.
That night we watched the episode.
Of course we did.
Realized,
yeah,
like we did the scene wrong.
Yeah.
And so we went back on the next day.
Yeah, we went back on our bullshit is what we did. And we stood on the right direction. Stood right corner, and I got the right direction. So I have an amended video. I will post it eventually. And then we went to the ROM, the Royal Ontario Museum. And that was so much fun. Again, it was like Casa Loma. We were supposed to be there like an hour, and we closed the ROM. There was a lot of holding up screenshots from Dark Knight and trying to figure out exactly which side of the balcony they stood on.
I think we figured it out.
Do you see that serpent guy right there in the mosaic? He appears on the left, so we have to stand over here. It was fun. And Meg brought a big hunk in the trunk sign, and we held it up as we went around. So that's a fun souvenir, too. We should have taken that and gotten it signed. Oh, no, I said no, we shouldn't, because I don't want to take a picture of Nick in the trunk to Karen to have it signed. Oh, in retrospect, it was an even better idea because, of course, we totally fell apart. But we'll get to that soon. So soon. We spent a lot of time in the ROM. It was fun. It was kind of surreal to see a place that I've seen before, but I've never been to.
Right, that had been so prominent in the TV series.
Yeah, I felt the same later when we went to the bar that is currently located where the Raven was in the first season. So they used the same exterior through all of it. But in season 2, they used a set for the interior. In season 1, they used this building. And it was surreal to be in there because, like, the bar was in the same place. And all the columns are still there. They're not circular. They're like would.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh my God, I'm in the Raven. Even though it looks like Jeanette went on Instagram and got got a lot of inspiration. Was like, what about?
It looks like Jeanette went on an ayahuasca journey and then visited the Amazon
Yeah.
jungle and came back and said, here's my design aesthetic. I want psychedelic jungle
Yeah.
and fish.
You know what? Honestly, maybe we would have a better. I mean, it was good. The food was good. We really enjoyed our experience. It was at Selva. The place is called Selva. But we may have had a more lingering positive like feeling towards the place if we'd gotten the giant container of cocktail.
Oh, the cocktail towers.
Yes. So every cocktail comes in a cup or
you can get a tower, which is 10 servings of that particular drink in a cylinder.
Yeah.
With a spigot at the bottom.
It's probably better we didn't because by the time we left there, everybody was a little bit sauced. And then we went to Sweet Jesus and got really good ice cream and sat outside in the evening. It was like 10 or 11. And there was there was a pigeon that had hit the window and was just laying on the ground in front of us. And it was really sad. We sat and ate this ice cream and watched this pigeon like struggle because what can we do to the pigeon? I don't know. It was just like a weird ending to an otherwise very nice day. And then we finally got back home and it was like we all died because we had been walking around all day. Let me turn the pages on the sacred text. Oh, and then day 4 was our most unfocused day. It was kind of our like flex day because the only thing we had was we were going to a Blue Jays game in the evening so that we were going to get to go in the Sky Dome.
Right, we had to check out of the hotel, find a place to park the car, and be at the Blue Jays game at like 7.
Right. And that was it. So we went back to St. Lawrence and we actually wandered around St. Lawrence. And this is when we got souvlaki. I got souvlaki. Meg got souvlaki. Matt got a gyro.
There were 2 kinds of souvlakis and 2 kinds of gyros. So I wanted to just expand the palette.
We were having souvlaki for Dawn, okay?
You guys had souvlaki for Dawn. Being the premier Forever Night fans.
The premier Forever Night fans. I would not go that far.
I'm a Forever Night viewer.
You are.
So I had a gyro.
Well, Meg posted a picture on her Instagram and John Capello said, delicious. So I don't know if you know this.
# winning.
But we're kind of a big deal. But we did it was fun. We also made friends with the gelato guy and got really good gelato. And then we discovered that they have a art museum. And we walked around the art museum and that was really cool because they were talking about the importance of like drag in different African cultures and like dressing up like your mother or like your ancestral mother is important because you're like honoring where you came from. And that was super cool. Plus, it turns out Kensington Market used to be the town hall, and it used to be on the water.
But from a bunch of construction, they took the like dirt and rocks and stuff and extended the landmass.
Yeah.
And pushed the shoreline back.
Right.
Like, I don't know, almost a mile.
Yeah. Go really long way. And then we did go up in the CN Tower. Matt was like, so when on the schedule are we going up in the CN Tower? And I was like, oh, it's not on the schedule. I didn't want to do it. And you were like, we're not going in the CN Tower? So then we had to go because Matt made a face. So then we went in the CN Tower.
It's the one thing I wanted to do.
The one thing I want to do. You know what I did for you yesterday?
It's the 30th year celebration of when I was last on the CN Tower.
So we went up in the CN Tower and we got to walk around on the glass floor, which is apparently getting bigger. They're expanding the glass floor. And had some pastries and looked out at the view. And Meg made a bunch of Higher Than High, the peak of the firecrackers. So it was good. And then we went to the St. Lawrence Market, which was even more fun because it was like a cool little artsy street market thing. And tried on some secondhand clothes because there was lots of non-ironic 90s themed.
Wait, St. Lawrence Market or
Kensington Market.
Kensington Market
Yeah,
was
Kensington Market.
the like streets with all the shops that feel like people just moved in.
Yeah. Like they were all abandoned and they were just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was lots of thrift stores that had only 90s clothes as like a non-ironic, these are what's cool right now. And that may have lended to the overall surreal experience of
Yeah.
being in Toronto when they're like, oh yeah, the 90s are back. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Can I buy a vest? I'm not going to lie. I looked at some vests. If they'd had some nice ones, I might have bought them. And then we went to the Blue Jays game, the highlight of which was we got to watch the Sky Dome close the roof. That was really cool. And the Blue Jays won or whatever. It was fine. So then we left and it was time to go to the Stratford Festival. So we went to Stratford.
Yeah, we had to leave the Blue Jays game, drive to Stratford, and then get to the bar before midnight because we were renting a room above the bar.
Yes.
So we arrived, I don't know, like 11:30.
11:37, and they were closing up the bar. And we're like, we need the key. That was cute. We stayed above this little bar. 2 doors down was a cat cafe. Stratford was really cute. I would go back to Stratford for a whole week just to wander around and see all the stuff.
I thought we discussed that we would move to Stratford and like live there.
I would live there. It was so cute. So we stayed above the little bar, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Heritage Hops.
Heritage Hops. And the next morning we woke up and of course I had already made us an appointment to go to the cat cafe. So we went to the cat cafe.
We were there when they opened the doors.
Yeah, we annoyed them by walking in as they were opening the doors. We're like, where's the cats? Where do we go to see the cats? So we went in and sat with the cats and they were so cute. And it's a good thing we lived a really long ways away and could not adopt these cats.
That was a risk.
Yeah, it was so cute. They had some resident cats and then they had cats that were available for adoption. And most of the resident cats were like just little butterballs. It was adorable. One of them had diabetes and its name was Toe Beans. And it like limped and it was a little bedraggled looking. And it was so cute. And Meg connected with Toe Beans. She pet Toe Beans like the whole time. It's too bad Toe Beans was not adoptable. I have a feeling I know where Toe Beans would be now.
Yeah.
And I got like a bunch of kittens that sat beside me that all made they were all sucking on the blanket and having like a snuffle party. So I think I posted a video of that on Instagram and it was just really cute. We had a really good time. And then we kind of wandered around. We went to the store. There's lots of little
The
shops.
Stratford Festival
Little shops.
shop.
I love a little shop. So we went to the Stratford Festival shop and I got a t-shirt of Grand Magic. They didn't have a lot for Grand Magic. I was kind of sad. They only had one t-shirt, which of course I bought.
Okay, for context, Grand Magic is the play that Geraint Wyn Davies is performing in this season in Stratford.
Correct.
And we had tickets for the final performance of Grand Magic.
Which we didn't actually realize was the final performance when we booked them. But yes. So that afternoon, we went and saw Much Ado About Nothing. And it was phenomenal.
Amazing.
Amazing. I now want to go every year and watch plays there. They were so brilliantly done.
Yeah. We need to go back next year and see like all the plays.
Yeah. They did Much Ado About Nothing, which is like the original rom-com. And there's a part where the two lovers who, of course, fall in love instantly and are going to get married because they're young and foolish, they get torn apart by an evil lie because they're led to believe that the woman is not a virgin. And so...
Or deliberately unfaithful.
Deliberately unfaithful. And so they end up breaking apart the wedding on the wedding day at the altar. Very dramatic. And so she pretends to be dead, which, hey, who hasn't done that to get out of a hard breakup? She pretends to be dead because that way he'll feel bad about what he did. And in the original play, when it all shakes out that it was a lie, she's like, oh, okay, we can get together. Let's get married and be happy forever after now. But they changed it so that he was like, I forgive you for not ever doing anything wrong, but making me think you did something wrong, and I'm going to take you back. And she's like, the fuck you're going to take me back? Of course, this is paraphrased because they did a very good job making this very Shakespearean sounding.
It felt like the original speaking style.
Right. And she's like, seriously? You think I'm going to take you back after literally one dude said something to you and you immediately...
Like you didn't even see me?
You shamed me for fucking no reason? Let's talk about
like
this
the
first.
most extra way to like shame a person.
Yeah, and you didn't come to me and talk to me about it. You confronted me at the altar like a coward. Did it make you feel like a big man?
Right. And yeah, if I take you back, what's going to stop you the next time you are misled on information that like targets me?
Yeah.
What's going to stop it next time from you believing it?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I can trust you.
Yeah. She's like, what if I told you that a summer ago there was another man and we met in the orchard and we did stuff together? And he's like, oh, did he force himself on you? I'll go find him. She's like, no, I wanted to do it. And he's like, okay, well, who was the man? She goes, I said if, and you didn't even hear if. It's a powerful word, isn't it? Like, oh, that's good.
And so then he had this whole long thing about being insecure and being afraid,
Yeah.
and then kind of opening himself up to opportunities for himself to become the man he wants to be, like with her.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, that sounds better.
Yeah. Okay. That's like, I can work with that.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And then we had a short break where we ate some food, trapped some bees in glasses.
Not bees.
Yellow jackets.
Bees are our friends.
Yeah, no, yellow jackets.
Yellow jackets are our enemies.
Yellow jackets are
We trapped-
assholes.
I trapped yellow jackets, my enemies,
Your mortal
in
enemy.
glasses on another table, which the staff did nothing about.
This poor place was really understaffed, and there was an open cocktail on the table next to us that had an orange slice in it that had about 6 yellow jackets on it. And so Matt knocked the orange glass into the cup and put a tray on top, one of their serving
our
trays.
waitress came over and had a tray and set it on the table, but then like got called off somewhere else and left the tray behind. So I covered the big cocktail cup with the tray to trap all the yellow jackets inside.
Right.
And so then there's this cup, this like the giant like fishbowl style cocktail cup with 5 or 6 yellow jackets in it, and kind of slid that back. And then there were more yellow jackets coming at us. I had an empty water glass, and I trapped another one with like a little bowl from the appetizer and set that over there. It was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it was good food. They were understaffed and overwhelmed, and we made the best of it. So we had a good dinner, and then it was time
to prepare
for
for Rachel and Meg to prepare their bodies for Grand Magic. So we went back to the room.
Yeah.
And
so
we all got changed into fancier clothes.
Yes. And then we went to Grand Magic, which was at the Tom Patterson Theater, which was beautiful and so cool. And the theater was so well laid out. I don't think there was a bad seat in the entire house.
No.
But we were like second row up.
And there was nobody in front of us.
Right by the stage.
So I kept taunting Meg with like, Meg, we're going to be like 10 feet away from him.
Don't think it went unnoticed by any of us how close we were going to be to him. And he did such a good job. You know, I love him in Forever Night, but the theater is that's his wheelhouse. That's where he really excels.
And that's what he's been doing for the last 30 years.
Right.
Is stage theater.
That's what he's focused on, and he's good at it.
Like real good.
Like real good at it. And there was so we joke quite a bit on the podcast about his need to make out with things. with women. And so
not so much make out, just mouth their faces.
So we have decided that it must be in his contract that that has to be part of the play somewhere. So there's a scene where he's arguing with his wife, and then, or she comes out and she's like, "Your Royal Highness." It was so good. And then they are fussing at each other. And then he goes, "You're never going to leave me. You're never going to leave me." And she's like, "I know. Do you want to come over and kiss me?" And he goes, "Yes, please." And he ran over and like...
It's in the corner right in front of us.
I know. So he's like making out with her and he wrapped
like
his leg
15 feet away.
He wrapped his leg around her back. It was so cute. And it was just a really cool play. I haven't seen non-classical plays in a really long time.
Yeah.
And this was a translated Italian play, which was sort of it's one of those ones that's designed to make you think, the audience think. Like, is this a play? Is it reality? Is what's happening to these people part of the narrative? Is it an illusion? What is happening? And they really pulled that off really effectively, where as soon as you got into a rut where you were like, okay, Garrett's character is really just like a shyster magician who is putting one over on this guy. They do something that you're like, oh shit, what is that? What was that? Was that real? Was that not real? And he did absolutely brilliantly. Like, there was a scene where he's trying to convince this guy that this is all part of a magic trick. And then someone else shows up and they're like, "I need 100,000 lira. My wife is dying. My kids are starving. I need 100,000 lira. I'm going to shoot you if I don't." So he has a gun. And so he's like, "Okay, I'm going to make this man disappear." And so he looks out at the audience and he's like, "Who will give me 100,000 lira? Will you? Will you?" And then he looks over at the other actor who's playing the like wealthy guy that he's trying to put one over on. And he's like, "Sir, thank you for volunteering to write out a check for 100,000 lira." And so he writes out a check for 100,000 lira. He hands it to the guy. The guy leaves and he's like, "Ta-da!"
It works so well.
And, you get glimpses in Forever Night of how goofy I think Gare probably is when he's on a stage. And then to actually see it in person and see how skilled he is at like timing, comedy, physical comedy, verbal comedy, all of it was really... I don't know. It was a real highlight. It was a real joy. I was so excited to see it. I'm excited to go back again next year and maybe take some more friends and we get a real Gerthering going, and we actually get like a group of people that go. I mean, yes, it's a 30-year-old show, but that doesn't mean we can't all still have fun because of it or meet a community, because the types of people that love the show as much as we do are the types of people that are good friends to be good friends with. And then, of course, afterwards, we scoped this theater out. We came early. We walked around this theater. We kind of decided where we thought the cast came out. And then we had a plan. Matt was armed with everything that we needed, the posters, the markers. And we're like, "Okay, Matt, you just go and you get there so that we make sure he doesn't escape." And we ended up getting there and we waited. And we waited. And we did meet the main actor who played the other lead character. And he was so good too. Yeah, Bespelta. Yeah. He was so good too. And we talked to him for a little while. And Meg felt really bad because we were so focused on Gare that we didn't get this guy to sign anything. When we told him he did a great job and we chatted with him a bit. And then he had to go. He was headed home. But they were having their wrap-up party, and so Garrett was inside drinking and not coming out. We're just standing there. And so finally one of the other actors came over, and they were like, "Are you guys, are you waiting for somebody?" And Meg's like, "Yeah, we're waiting for Gare." Like, we're Biffles, not Mr. Wynn Davies. Not
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, we're waiting for Gare." And he's like, "Oh, are you friends?" We're like, No, just friends. Just fans, just fans.
And he's like, "Oh, do you want me to go get him?" And I'm going to say, like, yeah, whenever you have a chance. And Rachel and Meg are like, "Oh, no. Heavy breathing."
I need you to understand what went through my brain.
Wait a minute.
Do you know the DVD loading screen where it's just the DVD logo bouncing around?
Yeah.
That was me.
Okay? I think that was you and Meg.
It's just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but don't inconvenience him or anything. And so finally he went in and got him, and Gare came out.
He finished eating his slice of pizza.
Yeah, he was still holding his glass of white wine. I mean, he was tired. He's leaving to go to France tomorrow. He's been here for however
Months.
long, months. It was really gracious of him to come out and meet with us at all. And then we were just standing there, and Matt literally pushed us both forward and was like, "This is Meg, and this is Rachel."
I said, "This is Rachel and Meg. They're big fans. They have been for a really long time, like Forever Night days."
I'm so glad you held
And-
it together.
Me as the unenamored,
I have
less obsessive fan.
I have hundreds of hours of me just ranting nonstop. Sometimes eloquently, sometimes middlingly, and yet in this moment, nothing. I don't even remember what he asked. Meg said he asked if we wanted the signatures personalized. I don't remember him asking that.
He did. And I was like, that just name's fine.
And then
Because neither you or Meg answered and like any of his questions. Where are you from? Rachel said, North Carolina. And so he just kind of like waited. And then, so I clarified like close to whatever. And then I think he asked like where, like, were we still there? Like, and then I clarified, no, we're still like living in North Carolina. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Finally, we let the man go. He was like, yeah, I'm flying to the south of France tomorrow. It's just all busy. He looked tired. So I was like, okay, we'll take a picture and, just be done. And so we did, took our picture.
I told him you did an amazing job in
Yeah.
Grand Magic. And I said, Meg mentioned that, oh yeah, they have a podcast where they're going through all the episodes of Forever Night one at a time. And Matt hasn't seen it. And I said, yeah, I haven't seen it before. So I'm just, along for the ride, whatever. And I said, like, for this, I told him he did an amazing job in the play. I said, but I didn't know what to expect. I said, all I knew was we're going to Toronto. We hit up a bunch of filming locations for Forever Night. And we've been kind of seeing the sights. And then we were ending with seeing Garrett Wynne Davies, or seeing you perform live in a play. And I didn't know what that was going to be like. And, but I really enjoyed the show. And he said, yeah, this one's a wild story. Yeah.
I don't remember any of that.
And Rachel and Meg are just standing there like statues.
I don't know what I thought. I don't know what I thought, because in my mind I was like, he's not going to come out. Like, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm going to see him on stage and I'm just going to be happy that I saw him on stage. And that's going to be okay. Like, I'm going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we're standing out here forever. Maybe he already left. Okay. Well, then you were like, oh, I see him inside. And Meg and I were both like, shit, don't go. Oh God.
Why are you doing this to me?
And so I don't know. I have never had, it wasn't even panic. It wasn't like a panic response, like a fight or flight response where it was like shaking. It was like a deer accepting their own death.
So
just standing there.
fight or flight
Yeah.
is a shortened version. It's now called the 4 Fs.
Okay.
And there was like a conversation, a podcast thing I was listening to. And this person said, it's the 4 Fs. And from my like psychology textbook,
Yeah.
it was fight, flight, freeze, and reproduce.
Okay. Sex, I think is what you said last time you brought that up.
Yeah, the 4 Fs.
And so freeze is what happened.
Freeze is what happened.
Freeze is what happened. That's never happened to me before. I've panicked and then like panic talked where you're just like, like whatever. But I've never just like
just stop.
So thank goodness Matt was there. And I did tell him, Matt's here to keep us on track. Like, Matt's here to talk, because apparently we can't talk in your presence, your lordship.
So he signed all the things.
Yeah.
We had a few.
Yeah, we didn't take up too much
sentences
of his time.
conversation.
And now he's all the way back in the south of France and like, what the
He
heck
said,
was that?
"Oh,
problem?"
that face is too big." And then the one poster with all the Forever Night characters with their fangs out. He's like, "Oh, I used that expression tonight."
Yeah, he was really funny. And he was very nice with taking a picture. And and we were just like, have a great evening. Thank you for your time. And then off.
So he
And
went right back inside to get more sloshed.
well, which was fine. Have at it, man. He's leaving to go back to France tomorrow, to his French hotel to hang out. So that's great. And I don't know. The Stratford Fest has already announced all their plays for next year, but they haven't mentioned the cast yet. So I think once we know the cast, my plan is to go back next year. So what I might do is create a page on the website for anyone who might be interested in also coming. Because I know I've posted several places and a lot of people are like, oh, I would love to go. I don't want to go alone. And I thought we could make like a weekend or 4 or 5 days of it, however much you want to participate, because we can go back to some of the filming locations. We could hit up the Toronto Medieval Festival in full garb, 90s garb.
Yeah, we could go to medieval times.
Yeah, that's what I mean, medieval times.
Okay.
And we could also go to Stratford and see Garrigan.
When we talked about medieval times, we discussed wearing 90s fashion
Yes.
with vampire fangs and all going as a group to medieval times.
I think that would be fun. So we'll work on that. I know it doesn't have to be huge. I don't, my expectations are always just, I'm happy to be here. So that'll be next year. So we'll work on that. But it was so fun and so rewarding. And if you're thinking about doing something that you never thought you would do, go do it, because you might make a total fool of yourself in front of a sweet older gentleman who used to be in this show that you like a lot. Well, okay, so I thought maybe what I should do here is talk about why I love Forever Night, because we talk a lot about it on the show, and I'll say, oh, this is why I love Forever Night, or I love Forever Night for this. But like, why has it become something that is so enduring for me, and I think enduring for a lot of other people? Because objectively speaking, is it the best television show ever created? No, that would be a negative, Captain. I mean, we don't have narrative shape. We don't have consistency. We have phenomenal characters, but we have really real up and down story, whether sometimes it peaks.
It's limited to the media of the times.
Right. And, so why is it something that becomes a thing that I'm willing to make an entire podcast about? And I think what it comes down to is the reason I like vampires is I like it when vampires are a metaphor for being othered. When it is someone who is unlike other people, having to live in a world that is not made for them. And I think that at the time that I came to Forever Night, that was how I felt. Because I was in a world that I didn't feel like I understood, and I didn't feel like it was made for me, and it felt like work, like constant work, to have to mask, to have to fit in, to have to be someone that other people would not be repelled by. And that's what Forever Night is a lot about, is a character who is othered. He is outside of a society that he would love to be a part of, but that he cannot join because his very nature is so intrinsically different than the other people in the group. And I think that's why this show has the strength that it does, is because that is a very powerful use of the vampire myth. I mean, yeah, okay, sexy, whatever, horror, whatever, monster, gore, whatever. But the idea of someone who has to constantly work to be a part of something, I think is appealing to those of us who have something that makes us different from other people, that makes us feel different from other people.
To feel like you have to work for every moment you're interacting with
right.
other
So
people.
when you're out, if you're like me and you have, you're a little bit neurospicy, then when you're out with other people, that's not a relaxing situation. It is I am always fighting.
When you're not with people who have already know you and accept you.
Right. Like when Nick is with Natalie, he's relaxed, he's playful, he's having a good time, to the extent that she is aware of what he is and what he's like, he can be relaxed. But then when he's with Jeanette, he can completely be himself. So like a lot of neurospicy people, he has tears. He has Skanky, with whom he has to mask completely. He has Natalie with whom he can let the mask slip a little bit, but not too much. And then he has Jeanette where he can completely be himself. And I think that like high school Rachel, that spoke to her very strongly. Because I think like a lot of people who were like me, who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was not the understanding that there is now. And there was not the online community where you could find other people like you. You really felt isolated and alone. Like nobody else in the world struggles like I do to understand what people are telling me and to understand social situations and to understand what I'm supposed to be doing in this moment. And so for me, that was something that spoke so strongly to me that I have loved it ever since I first started watching it. And then for me to go and meet the guy was apparently
mind-numbing.
Mind-numbing, like just overwhelming, because it was something that got me through a lot of hard times. And I know he was just, I don't know how he felt about the role. He probably doesn't even remember most of what's in it, and that's fine. He doesn't need to. The story that was made was so meaningful, and then seeing him being good and enjoying what he's doing, I was so happy to know that he's doing something he loves. You can tell he loves being on
and
stage.
And rocking it.
Yeah. Everyone should have the amount of joy that it seems like he gets from what he does. And I'm thankful that even if he Hypercube didn't like launch his career the way maybe he was hoping it would, he still found a niche where he's loving what he's doing. And that's great. And I think that I'll just leave it there. I just thought, you know what, I've never really talked about, like, to me, what is Forever Night? Well, to me, Forever Night was something that I could see as a metaphor for my existence. I don't drink blood or anything, but like masking, having to be someone different in order to be accepted. But do you want to be that different person anymore? Or do you just want to be the person that everyone thinks you are? And is that really better, or is it not better?
Right. And that's what pretty much all literature is for putting you inside somebody else's head.
Yeah.
Either the author's head or the characters that the author has like very successfully imagined and portrayed. And sometimes the people, the headspace that you get into is to kind of support, like, oh, there are other people like me.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times it's, oh, here's the world, or here's a world from a completely different perspective from my entire lived experience. And by reading this literature and immersing myself in it, I can actually see the world from another person's point of view, just to broaden the ways I can think about things.
Yeah.
And for me, just literature in general I focused more on like sci-fi fantasy stuff than classic literature, but I got a lot of value from seeing and like living through stories from lots of characters' points of view, just for like, oh, okay, here's ideas of how to be as a person in this kind of crisis or this kind of situation, and here's how you can treat people, here's how you can respond to surprising events. And I kind of use those as like scripts for, oh, this thing happened to me now. Okay, but this is similar to what happened to, like this character in this fantasy series.
Yeah.
And I have at least a reference point.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. All right, well, I think we'll leave it there. All hope to the Gerthering 2024. I'm going to put up our pictures. I took a whole bunch of pictures with my fancy camera. So I'm going to make a circa 1999 gallery page on our website.
Ooh.
That would be strangeandbeautiful.club. So if you want to see those, it's going to take me a while. You know it's going to take me a while. You know me.
We'll be posting a link on the Instagram.
But I'll post, I'll get it all up. And then I'll also be posting a Gerthering 2024 page so we can get an eye, like, just put it out there. hey, it's cool. If nobody wants to come, great. I'll go again. I'll go by myself. I'll go with you. I don't care. But if other people come, that'd be fun too. So we'll just figure that out. We'll roll with the punches like we usually do. Unscripted. That's how we live our lives. The plot is unknown at all
Spoiler-free
times.
life.
Spoiler-free life. I don't even know what's coming next. All right. Until next time, friends.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.